What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on D's Analysis. We're going to be looking at Coinbase, ticker symbol COIN. This thing's been absolutely ripping to the upside. We were talking about this move potentially making it to the top of the trend line or the zone, all the way back over here in this area. You can watch the previous Coinbase videos if you want to go back and watch them. I have a couple of them. We were trending sideways for an extended period, all the way back from really February 2024. We were just in a sideways consolidation. We were deviating to the downside, to the upside, and so on, kind of just faking it out. But this was the core of the move here. It was pretty much in this zone the entire time. And we were talking about a nice inverse head and shoulders that ended up playing out. And the measured move took us to these nice targets over here. You can see we had a left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. And it is playing out pretty well. Indicating for higher targets. Of course, it does not have to play out, but if Bitcoin was to absolutely continue ripping higher, as it is creating bullish structure and creating a nice bull pennant right now on Bitcoin, if that were to explode and push much higher, then that could potentially push this thing outside of this entire channel that we have here that's been respected for all the way back till July 2023. So we've had multiple touches. We had 1, 2, 3 at the bottom. This one deviated a little bit further. And then we had 2 touches here. And then we were saying that could potentially indicate that third touch. And we ended up getting it. And we did say that once we met the top of the channel, that the move's not over per se, but that we're more than likely going to see some kind of rejection or consolidation period before actually breaking out. So we were talking about that. We were saying we're going to push up, find some kind of rejection, at least temporarily, either chop sideways and fall down, or chop sideways and then eventually break out, retest off of here, and then make fresh highs. Of course, that's going to be depending on Bitcoin, like I said, and crypto in general. Currently, ETH is outperforming Bitcoin, which is a nice sign because you need the capital to flow from top to bottom, starting at Bitcoin to ETH to the next, bigger ones like Solana, XRP, and then just have it continue funneling down all the way down to Doge and meme coins and all that stuff. So this is a good sign so far, looking at ETH, Bitcoin. But if capital can continue to flow through crypto, then I would imagine that this move could continue higher than this channel here. Right now, this is definitely going to be a level of resistance that we have to be looking at for now. When we look at the weekly SMAs, this thing is looking incredibly good right now. You can see it's pushing above the 50. The 20 right here is pushing above the 50. Whenever we got that move over here, you can see what happened after. You ended up getting an absolute massive move from that point on of 367%. Not saying we're going to push up 367% from that point, but you can see that you did get a significant move to the upside. So we'll see if that plays out and holds true. Here on the daily, it looks like we are coming into contact with our 20-day SMA. We'll see if we get a bounce there or if we end up falling through, retesting off of it, and then meeting our 50 moving average before potentially pushing up higher. Maybe it creates some kind of inverse head and shoulders. Maybe we get some kind of move like this, push back up, fall through, push up, then retest off the 20, and then we start our next move up higher. We'll see, of course. Nothing's guaranteed. On our weekly Bollinger Bands, we are at the top Bollinger Band. We were outside of it, and now we close back inside. So maybe we go back to retest it and continue hugging it on the way up. Here on the daily, we did make our way back to the blue band after touching the red band twice. We touched it twice, got rejected, and now we're sitting at the blue band. We'll see if we get that bounce and continue that momentum. But that was confluence to the downside, as you can see. You had the weekly and the daily Bollinger Bands above your head, along with the top of this channel. So that's a lot of confluence to push price back down, and that's exactly what happened. On the 8 daily EMA, you can see we have fallen underneath it temporarily. We'll see if we can actually close back above it, but this is indicating that we could potentially see some kind of short-term continuation to the downside before reverting back to the upside. Weekly volume has been pretty solid since the month of June. We can see some large candles here, 32 million, 89.99 million. That one's 133 million, and then you can see 43, 64, 88.6, and this last week was 60.5. So we'll see if we can get a large volume day or week, sorry, and continue that momentum. You can see it was dying out a little bit, which is a good sign. So you see the bearish volume is slowly dwindling down. So hopefully we can start to see green start to ramp up. You want to see the bearishness decrease and the bullishness start to increase for the volume. On the weekly RSI, we were in overbought territory, and then we just felt slightly outside of it. We're sitting at 68.78. Maybe we come all the way down to retest this yellow moving average. We could potentially just start to return back higher, and maybe this is just a little cool down period before we can continue up higher and see a green shaded area. Last time we were up in the overbought territory, you can see that we did get a double top, so be aware of that. So hopefully we don't see that, but that would look something like this, where we either make it to 75 again and get rejected, or we fall slightly under 75 and then we start to push down. So be aware of that. Look to see if we can break above 75. That'd be a good sign for a continuation of higher levels on the RSI, which could bring more FOMO and momentum to Coinbase. Here on the daily RSI, you can see this is starting to play out as a double top. You can see that first one here. This one's a little bit lower, and we fell underneath our yellow moving average. So this is a little bearish, and we did break underneath this key level right here. Oh, you can see we broke underneath that key level there. So we definitely want to hold that, but now this is going to open up the idea of us retesting this and potentially pushing down further. Of course, it does not have to play out. This can turn right back around, and this could end up being a major bull flag or pennant if price were to follow a trend line like this, and then we chop and then eventually break out. Then it could be a nice bull flag and continuation of the upside for the RSI here on the daily on Coinbase. So be open to all the ideas, because we don't really know what's ever going to happen. We can have an idea, but price has to kind of show you its hand before you can start saying exactly what's going to happen. Here on the weekly, this is incredibly bullish. As you can see, the momentum is just trending higher. We did get a lower volume week this week, but it is still relatively high. And on the daily, we have a little bit of bearishness starting, but we're still holding in bullish territory. We're well above the dotted line at 0. We're sitting at around 27.5, but we did get the red flip. So hopefully this blue moving average can start to curl back up and overtake this orange here. And then they can start to ramp back up, and we can start seeing more bullish sentiment and momentum to the upside for Coinbase. Overall though, Coinbase does seem pretty bullish, but at the same time, we are at a key inflection point where we could find a lot of rejection. The momentum is incredibly bullish, but I would definitely be a little cautious in terms of where we're currently at, because we could see at least some short-term sideways chop or potentially a little bit of downside. Not telling you to sell your shares or anything like that. I still think this could be a good potential buy, 5, 10, 15 years, long-term outlook. DCAing in, not financial advice, of course. But yeah, I would definitely be cautious of that. But don't be surprised if we were to actually break out and hold the top of this channel and start to run up a little bit higher before getting a deeper retracement. That's all I have for you guys. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you enjoy content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.